This is the Bat Boys Back in Bat shirt from Nox Luna, and I'm so excited about it. It's like a band tee, their tour list on it. Their website will be linked down below. Hello, beautiful people. If you are new here, my name is Jo. If you're not new here, you know who I am. Regardless, welcome back to my channel. It's great to see you guys today. So today we are going to be doing a pretty large book haul. If I'm being honest, most of these are fantasy romance. That's just what I have been devouring in the past 6 months. These books are the culmination of what I have acquired in the year of 2022. So let's just get into it because I do not want this video to be very long. I want it to be snip snap, girl, snip snap. The Never King by Nikki St. Crow. This is the first book in the Vicious Lost Boys series, I believe. This is a Peter Pan retelling in which we are following our main woman, Winnie Darling, who is a descendant from Wendy. So every time a Darling woman reaches her 18th birthday, Peter Pan comes for her. So at the beginning of this story, we are following Winnie as she has just turned 18. Her mother has some issues. She is like boarding up the windows. She is trying to keep Peter Pan out, but of course he comes anyway. This is a reverse harem type of situation. I enjoy this series. I know that a lot of people have a lot of problems with it, but I have fun with it. It's smut. It's spice. So I got that. Next, we have a recent read for me that I really enjoyed, and that is Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. This is a female-female romance in which one of our main women, Delilah Green, is having to return to her hometown to be the photographer for her estranged stepsister's wedding. So when Delilah arrives in this small town, she plans to get in, get her shit done, and get out. But of course, that doesn't happen. She meets Claire Sutherland, who is one of her estranged stepsister's stuck-up besties that she remembers back in the day not being very nice to her. I really liked it. I'm going to talk about it more in my July wrap-up. It's pretty much got everything that you want in a rom-com. It's got small town. It's got kind of like a Grumpy Sunshine. There's humor. There's a lot of sass. There's a parent trap situation. Next, we have A Game of Retribution by Scarlett St. Clair. This is the second book in the Hades saga. The Hades saga is kind of in conjunction with her Touch of Darkness series. If you haven't read that, it's a Hades and Persephone retelling. This one and the first book in the Hades saga, A Game of Fate, are told from Hades' perspective. We're following the same timeline, but it's in Hades' perspective. I love Hades' perspective. I liked A Game of Fate way more than I liked A Touch of Darkness because Persephone gets on my nerves. She grinds my gears. So I'm so excited to get into this one. Next, we have one of my favorites of the year, and that would be the Four Horsemen Quartet. Would you call it a quartet? There's 4 books. The Four Horsemen series by Laura Thalassa. Humanity has pretty much been deemed unworthy, and so the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse have been sent down to Earth to cause a ruckus, pretty much destroy the planet and kill all the little humans. But of course they don't. They fall in love. It's fantastic. I love it so much. So we have Pestilence, which is probably my favorite in the series. We have War, delicious. We have Famine, yum yum, and we have Death, everyone's favorite angel. King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair. This I probably should have mentioned before with the other Scarlett St. Clair book, but we're mentioning it now. So in this story, we are following Isolde, and in order to end a years-long war, she must marry Adrian, the enemy king, the vampire king, delicious man that he is, and kill him. That's her goal. It's fabulous. It's a lot of fun. Next, we have The Behemoth, that is House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. I have already read this. Girl, that ending though, I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. It's one of my most disappointing books of the year. Not the ending. The ending was fantabulous, but the rest of it, I was just so bored. I was bored, babe. I was bored. The War of Two Queens and A Shadow in the Ember. These are a part of the From Blood and Ash series. I believe that A Shadow in the Ember is a part of a prequel series that's happening. Don't know about that. Don't know anything about it. I really like the From Blood and Ash series. I know that a lot of people have some issues with it as the series has gone on, especially with this gorgeous thing. A lot of people have a lot of issues with it. I haven't read it yet, so next, I have Radiance by Grace Draven, and it is probably shining bright like the stars in the sky. Shine bright like a diamond. Radiance, it goes together. This was gifted to me by Tori from The Novel Life. If you haven't checked out her channel, if you don't know who she is, you probably do. She's fantastic. I love her channel. I will have her channel linked down below if you're interested. Kind of like a friends to lovers arranged marriage type situation. So initially, these two are pretty disgusted by one another because they don't look like each other. I think the main man, he's got like black claws and black eyes and stuff like that. Obviously a little creep, but eventually they become friends and eventually lovers. I really liked it. When I read it, I need to reread it. We need to do that. Next, I have another favorite of the year, and that is the Stay a Spell series by Juliet Cross. This series is following the Savoy sisters, who are witches in New Orleans, and the shenanigans that they get up to. It's a paranormal romance. Our first book, Wolf Gone Wild, is following Evie Savoy, who is a hexbreaker, cursebreaker type of witch, and Mateo, who is a werewolf who has had a hex/curse, whatever, I can't remember the terminology, put on him to where he cannot shift into his werewolf, and it's driving him insane. This book in particular has a lot of humor in it. There's a lot of nerd aspects, geek aspects. The geek culture shines through in this book, if you know what I mean. I absolutely loved it. So next in the series, we have Don't Hex and Drive, which is book 2. In this book, we are following Isadora and Devraj. They meet in a kind of precarious situation. Isadora is riding her bike home from the store one day. They own a witchy store. It's beautiful. So she's riding her bike home from the store one day, and Devraj hits her with his car. He's a vampire. He's also a Bollywood star, and he's in town to help with a vampire-related case that's going on. It is beautiful. It's delicious. Witches Get Stitches by Juliet Cross. This is book number 3. This is following Violet Savoy and Nico Cruz. Nico is the cousin of Mateo, so he is also a werewolf, and of course there is a little bit of pining that's going on. Violet is kind of like a seer, and she does not see this spicy werewolf man in her future, but Nico does. Nico sees her in his future. The last one that I got, and the most recent in the series, is Always Practice Safe Hex by Juliet Cross. This is book 4. This is following Livy Savoy and Gareth Blackwater, who is a Grimm. And the Grimms, we have found out a little bit about within the other books in the series, but they are a very secretive race of paranormal beings. And we get to find out a lot about his Grimness in this book, and I really loved it. Electric Idol by Katie Robert and Wicked Beauty by Katie Robert. This is her Dark Olympus series. This one I read toward the beginning of the year, and it's one of my favorites that I've read this year. It's following Psyche and Eros. Loved it so much. This one I have not read yet. This is following Achilles, Patroclus, and Helen of Troy, and it's going to be a throuple. I'm so excited to read it. Next, we have books 2, 3, and 4 in the Broken Land series by T.A. White. This is one of my favorite series. I really, really liked it. The first book being Pathfinder's Way. Next, we have Mist's Edge, Wayfarer's Keep. We're struggling, but that's okay. We're going to keep going. And finally, Wind's Call. In these first 3 books, we are following our main woman, Shea, who is a pathfinder. And in this world, the lands beyond the little towns that they have, the little villages, the little dwellings, if you will, are filled with monsters and magic and things of that sort. It's very dangerous to go outside of your little village. And the pathfinders are the people who are pretty much hired to be in these villages to help with scouting missions. They're really, one with the land. They know how to track stuff and find stuff and lead people to safety, you know what I mean? And in this world, there are these Triteri warriors who are trying to take over the world, and Shea ends up getting captured by one of them. And in this first book, she ends up having to disguise herself as a boy to try and escape, but then some shenanigans happen, and she has to decide whether or not she wants to go back to the life that she's led. Being a female, she has a lot of issues with the men in the villages. They don't really take her seriously. Or if she wants to join up with this Triteri warlord band of dudes and help them take over the land. It's very good. It's one of my favorites. This 4th book is a companion novel following Eva. This one is my favorite of the series because of a magical horse. I'm not a horse girl, but I am a sucker for magical animals, let me tell you. Next, we have 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James. I bought this at a library sale. I saw it, and since I've been reading romance, and since I'm now talking about romance, I figured that I would have to read this book eventually. This is such a classic in the romance community, in the spicy book genre. I have to read it. I'm planning on doing a vlog when I do read this because I have not read this at all. So if you're interested in that, let me know down below. And if you're not, don't tell me because I'm going to do it anyway. Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. There is a bookmark in it because this is the copy that my mom is currently reading. We're buddy reading it because we're buddies. So this is a dark romance story following Cora and Dean. Dean being Cora's sister's fiance. And one night when Cora gets a little bit too drunk at a bar, she needs a ride home. Dean is the only one available. They pretty much don't really like each other, so there's a little bit of, you know, tension going on there, but Dean does come to pick her up, and that night they are kidnapped by a man named Earl. And if you've heard the Dixie Chick song about Earl, you know he is an asshole. He makes them do horrible things to each other. He does horrible things to them. Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. This book is actually one that I am currently reading. I'm barely into it. I'm on page 47, but we're currently reading it. This book is following Hala, who is a housekeeper for her deceased husband's uncle. And when the uncle dies, he ends up leaving all of his stuff, all of his money, his house, everything to Hala, and his sisters are not too happy about it. So they try to force her to marry one of their sons, who is also her cousin. She decides that she doesn't want to do that. So Hala decides that she is going to kill herself. She's going to fall on this very ancient sword that is in her room. And when she pulls the sword out of its scabbard, an ancient guardian of the sword comes out. And coincidentally, while she is trying to kill herself with the sword, she finds out that the guardian of the sword has to protect and serve the wielder. This is a kind of lighthearted, low-stakes fantasy romance, and I'm really enjoying it so far, and I'm excited to read more. Next, we have a series, okay? Here it is. We have the Zodiac Academy series by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. If you don't know, I am doing monthly vlogs of the Zodiac Academy series as I read through them one at a time until the release of the 8th book in December. I'm not sure if it's the final one. I'm pretty sure it's the final one. It might not be. I don't want to deal with the cliffhanger in book 7, so we're doing one book a month vlogs. If you're interested in that, I have a playlist on my channel. So we have book 1, The Awakening. We have book 0, Origins of an Academy Bully. Book 2, Ruthless Fae. These covers are absolutely gorgeous, by the way. The Reckoning, which I'm getting ready to read within the next week or so, and I'm so excited to read. Shadow Princess, which I heard is gonna break my heart. We're so excited to be broken. Cursed Fates, book 5. Book 6, Fated Throne. Book 7, Heartless Sky. And then we have the Zodiac Academy, The Awakening as Told by the Boys, which I'm also really excited about because I love the boys. Next, I have a manga. This is Sweat and Soap, volume 6. So this is a romance manga about a perfume developer and his muse. His muse is this girl. It is very sweet. It's kind of weird. There's like some sniffing involved, obviously. I really like it. It's really cute. It's a lot of fun. And next we have Demon Slayer Volume 1. In this world, there are these creatures called demons. They look like humans. They sound like humans. They have powers that are not human and they eat people. And in this story, we are following Tanjiro as he has just discovered his family brutally murdered by a demon. And the only survivor of this massacre is his sister Nezuko, who has unfortunately become a demon. And Tanjiro vows that he will find a way to turn his sister Nezuko back into a human and become a demon slayer himself in order to get back at and kill the demon that murdered his family. It's a really good series. And last but not least in this fantastically long book haul is Lore Olympus Volume 2. This is a recent release. If you don't know about Lore Olympus, it is a Hades and Persephone retelling. It is on Webtoon if you want to read it for free and not have to buy these physical copies. The art is delicious. Persephone is a absolute cinnamon roll. In my opinion, this is the best depiction of Persephone that I have read so far. I absolutely love Persephone. She is a delicious little cinnamon roll, and Hades is just underappreciated and undervalued and misunderstood, of course, and I love it so much. So those are all of the books that I have bought in the first 6 months of 2022. Compared to previous years, I haven't bought that many. I mean, it's like 40 in 6 months. That's not bad, right? But that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching this. I will see you guys next time.